Today's Cowboys report is made possible by 8 Sleep. I've always slept pretty well. My wife has not. That is until we found 8 Sleep. The Pod 3 cover brings heating and cooling tech to help keeps us comfortable and sleeping better for a deeper, more restful night. We will get into the Derrick Henry house rumors, free agency targets like Tony Pollard updates, Justin Simmons, Trey White, and the latest on Dak Prescott momentarily. But as we get ready to enter NFL free agency, what is your confidence level right now in the Cowboys? I think we're going to see some low answers, but sound off using the 1 to 10 scale in the comments. Now, the update that kind of snuck through last night from Jane Slater, friend of the show of NFL Network, is the Cowboys have not started talks with Dak Prescott yet on a contract, but don't worry, they will later. Let's relay the article from NFL Network citing Jane Slater. Quote, Dak Prescott and the Cowboys have had no talks at all on a contract extension, NFL Network's Jane Slater reported Wednesday. Slater added, however, that it's unlikely to be cause for alarm and that she could see a deal coming to fruition closer to August. The idea that the Dallas Cowboys do want to pay Dak, but want to do it in August, absolutely is cause for alarm. The Dallas Cowboys are an unserious franchise right now, and it drives me insane. What exactly are the Cowboys trying to do in the 2024 offseason? If you are trying to win games right now, even though we know Jerry was not real honest about the all-in thing, why are you waiting till August? That doesn't help you free up the salary cap space you need to have for free agency. You don't get the benefits of that. And if you just restructure and then pay, you still don't get the same number, and you're still then putting more money back on the plate this year and this offseason, which you don't really want to do either. This team, when you pair that report from Jane with the one from Michael Gelkin that they think waiting until next year will be better for them, is insanity. It's just wrong. We are days away from NFL free agency, and assuming these reports are true, and I have no reason to doubt that they are not true, they're not even trying. They're not even trying to get things done with the most important position on their franchise. And they're just like, we can take the massive cap hit. This is the opposite of all in. This is I don't give a shit. This team continues to prove they're not actually serious about winning football games in the way that we want them to be. And if you don't want to pay him at all, and that's what you're trying to angle yourself towards, then just move on now. Because all you're doing is just delaying the inevitable. You can't play this both ways. This is a Stephen Jones issue, by the way. You can't do nothing and think that, we can win games now and then reset next year. The end result is you're not actually going to get the results on either side of the spectrum that you're angling for. It's going to be the exact same shit we've seen year after year, not just with this quarterback, but with previous quarterbacks for this Dallas Cowboys organization. It's incredibly frustrating as a Cowboys fan to see this organization making the exact same mistake they did years ago with Dak. I'm not done cooking Stephen Jones here. Do you have faith, though, in the Cowboys, the real leader right now of the organization? Stephen's taken more power from Jerry. Y for yes, N for no. It is the pinned comment on today's video. So if the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Y or N. I move for a vote of no confidence in Stephen Jones. He is running things these days, and it shows. And I do not mean that in a positive way. He is so committed to trying to play things down the middle that he's not making decisions, and the decisions end up getting made for you. The Cowboys are making the exact same mistakes they did last time. They continue to operate with little urgency, with little care about trying everything they can to win a damn championship. And they'll win 10 games. They'll be a playoff team. La-di-da. The big difference between the championship caliber teams and the Cowboys, when you are in such a narrow margin for error, is that those teams spend money in free agency. They are aggressive with their contracts beyond what the Dallas Cowboys are. And that's the difference. The margins between being the top 2 team, top 6 team, top 12 team like you've been for a long time now are very thin. And when you're ignoring 2/3 of your job beyond the draft, or maybe half your job of the draft and re-signing your own players, but having bad contracts, the way you handle them, and free agency, you're not getting better. This team doesn't care about winning titles. They absolutely do not. They care about being a playoff team. They would rather have an 80% chance every year of making the playoffs and have a 10% chance of making the Super Bowl, I'm making up the numbers here, than boosting those odds 20% for 2 years and taking 10% off for a couple of seasons on the playoffs. They would rather do that. They don't want to win the titles. They just want to be where they've been the last decade, 20 years. Playoff team, having a chance to do this. I don't want to drag this out. You should know enough by now to make up your mind. Either the top 10 quarterback that you have, and he's a top 10 quarterback, stop arguing otherwise, you guys are wrong, is good enough with this team, or he's not. If the answer is the former, okay, pay him, get it done. The number doesn't even matter that much. If he's not, okay, then move on. Tear the Band-Aid off, start your rebuild, and go hope you can go to the quarterback store and find somebody who's better. The Cowboys are cowards, and I hate it. At a certain point, they have to take a chance on something. They can't just sit through these years going, we're close, and saying that's fine. I would rather gamble one way or the other than continue to be stuck in the exact same spot. Today's show is made possible by 8 Sleep. Unlike Stephen Jones, they're actually pretty damn good. Did you know that sleep science shows in order to sleep our best, our body temperature has to drop in the early and middle part of sleep and rise in the morning? The 8 Sleep pod cover will improve your sleep by automatically adjusting your bed's temperature based on your individual needs. The cover is added to any bed, just like a fitted sheet is, and allows you and your partner to cool or warm your side of the bed as low as 55 degrees and up to 110 degrees. There's no better way to improve your day-to-day life than better sleep. And the easiest way to do that is the 8 Sleep Pod 3. Go to 8sleep.com/chatsports and get $200 off plus free shipping on the pod cover by 8 Sleep. Start the new year right and invest in the rest you deserve with the 8 Sleep Pod. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. We appreciate 8 Sleep sponsoring us here on the Cowboys Report. A little tough for me to go from rant to ad read. I won't lie to you on that one. Let's talk Tony Pollard here, then some more free agency stuff. There is mutual interest in Tony Pollard re-signing with the Cowboys on a cheaper rate, far cheaper than what he got last year. That was certainly the buzz at the Combine. And then Dallas Morning News reporting this. A person with knowledge of Pollard's thinking told the Dallas Morning News the former 4th-round pick is open to returning, even if the contract from another team is slightly higher than the Cowboys offer. A return would not surprise me, and assuming that report is true, which I do believe it is, that is music to the Jones boys. They get to win the deal because they love winning deals, even though they typically end up losing them because they drag their feet. I'll say this. It is a loaded running back class. And not just for Pollard, but for several backs out there, that is going to drive down the cost. From, these guys might be looking for $10 million. They might get half of that. And I am totally fine paying Pollard 3, 4, maybe 5, kind of pushing it a little bit there, if they fix the other things that were issues as well in the ground game. Jerry Jones, part of his bus session, had this to say on Tony Pollard. I think Pollard played well. He's someone that I thought would have had more impact for us in the games we didn't play well in. But that running game, of course, is a product not only the back, but the blocking and the complete offense. When I look at him, and I've done that with our coaches and done it with our scouts, he played well. Uncommon, Jerry Jones W. I think he's actually totally right there. Pollard, you needed more out of Tony Pollard. And Jerry did not, disregard blame for Pollard. Kind of almost took a shot at him, saying he thought he would have played better in some of those games. It's true. But I think the blocking scheme and the offensive line were also major problems. You can't have games when, the exact number may be a little bit off here because I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was like Pollard had 46 yards or something total, or 66 yards, and all but 3 of them were after contact. That's not your running back's fault. That is the fault of your scheme and your offensive line. So assuming it is, let's say it's $4 million. Do you want Tony Pollard to return to the Dallas Cowboys? S for sign, P for pass. Go ahead and sound off in the comments section. Couple of free agents I want to discuss here that are now available. Justin Simmons, released by the Denver Broncos, the former All-Pro safety. Someone we had discussed many moons ago. Maybe the Cowboys could finally invest in safety the way I've wanted them to. Simmons is not the player he was in his prime anymore. You've seen some regression, some decline as he's gotten older, but he's not bad. He's actually still very good and consistently takes the football away. Assuming you let Jaron Kearse walk, I assume to the Commanders, you've got Malik Hooker, Donovan Wilson, Marquise Bell, Wanye Thomas, Israel Mukuamu can play safety as well. You've got pieces in the secondary to where you don't have to invest in safety. But this is a really good free agency crop at safety. There are a lot of starting caliber players, and much like running back, the supply outweighs the demand. So whether it's Simmons or somebody else, I think there is a chance that you could win the deal and find someone pretty cheap and find someone that you're not paying very much money to be a starting caliber piece in your secondary, which I think Mike Zimmer would appreciate. Just a thought. Now, if the Cowboys, they'll sign somebody, I promise you. This might not be for a little bit. Hope I'm wrong. But when the Cowboys make a free agency signing, even if it's Ryan Nall, we'll have a video for you. Hit that sub button right now. The other big name who was cut was Trey White, who tore his Achilles just 4 games into this season. This is a household name because, much like Simmons, a former All-Pro caliber corner, the injuries have really begun to mount for him in a way that is troubling and concerning. He only played 4 games this year. He only played 6 games in 2022. And if you're going, wait a minute, there's always a reason why some players get cut, right? Sometimes the team doesn't have the money available. They're trying to be cheap. They're rebuilding. They couldn't find a trade partner. Sometimes they're old. Sometimes they're hurt. And that's the issue here with Trey White. The medical is why he got cut. And how that medical checks out, which we might not know for a while, by the way, that will inform other interest in him. You know, we've seen times where the medical is so bad, a former All-Pro goes unsigned. Remember when Dallas had interest in Eric Berry? I remember it. He never got a chance again after that when the Cowboys brought him in for a visit. That's how bad the medical checked out. And Trey White has missed more games than he's played the past 3 seasons. Tore that ACL in 2021, took him a full year to recover, and then only played 4 games in 2023. Corner is a need for this team. Right now it's Trayvon Diggs, Deron Bland, Deshaun Wright, Eric Scott, kind of Israel Mukuamu, and Josh Butler under contract. If you felt great about White's medical, well, he probably wouldn't be available. But if you get through the offseason, maybe you get closer to training camp and White's unsigned, which I think is a chance of that happening, by the way, maybe he could make some sense at that point. Before we go, I did promise we would discuss Derrick Henry. You might have saw the social media post. Derrick Henry, he bought a house in Dallas. He did. This is not new, though. Henry's actually had a house in Dallas for several years now. It's why he always trains in Dallas in the offseason, like a lot of NFL players, by the way, not just the Dallas Cowboys ones either. I believe it's pregnant, I'm pretty sure she is, girlfriend also from Texas. This, unfortunately, is much ado about nothing. It is not a sign that Derrick Henry is about to come to Dallas. We should know better from how the Cowboys actually tend to operate.